Hello, good morning, friends, and welcome back once again. Today, I would like to discuss a new aspect in cancer, specifically in oral cancer, where we can have multiple dimension of cell culture model in oral cancer. Obviously, possible answer is existing in literature where dimension, three dimension, and however four dimension cell culture model is created and also is in practice. Today, I'm going to highlight some of the aspect of 5D cell culture model where certain aspects of tumor microenvironment of oral cancer, if it is going to be included in the study model, that will be a better resemblance to the cancer patients where the oral cancer is going to be detected or witnessed. In this direction, definitely it is beginning to let us know for the audience what is two-dimension cell culture if we consider oral cancer. Here, for all of you, OSCC refers here oral squamous cell carcinoma, and the TME, it refers here tumor microenvironment for specifically oral cancer. Definitely, the in two-dimension cell culture that is in practice since very long period of time, not for oral cancer, any type of the cell culture model, where the mono layer of the cells they are going to grow in one plane, and then media will be on the top. If you look at this diagram here, the cell, so all the cells are going to be in a one plane. In the presence of media, so the 2D cell culture, they have their own limitations, disadvantages, and one of the highly notable disadvantage is the 2D cell culture. Most of the time, they are not true to the tumor microenvironment of oral cancer or any other type of the tumor. So, my dear friend, if you go to the another cell culture model that is already also being practiced in this field, that is 3D cell culture of tumor microenvironment. If you look at here in 3D cell culture as a part of exercise, here the multiple layers in the form of either spheroid structure in the presence of certain artificial hydrogel system, and that's why we are referring here scaffolds supported or scaffolds free tumor microenvironment where the cells are going to grow in a multiple plane orientation. Definitely, the advantage of this 3D cell culture is true. That is, it is more resemblance to the tumor microenvironment, and that also include like extracellular matrix, nutrients, growth factor, various other aspects where we can mimic how the cancer cells are going to grow in an oral tumor tissue microenvironment. Great. Obviously, if you look at the cancer patients and with respect to the oral cancer, the cancer cell, they do not have just extracellular matrix or nutrients or growth factors. They have many more other dimensions and many more other factors. So the whole concept today or in future is also changing to the four dimension cell culture model here. And if you look at here, in this four-dimensional cell culture model, no doubt the multiple layers of the cell, they are growing in a multiple planes or dimension. Definitely the extracellular matrix. Here the matrix can be mimicked because if you look at the tissue microenvironment from one oral cancer patient to the other, it can be stiff or it can be soft. So we have to mimic those stiffness of matrix. Other also the vascular structure of the TME is also going to be mimicked in the 4D cell culture. Another is also the dynamics or the movement of these vascular structure or the tissue structure has to be mimicked because in the oral cavity, if the tumor is there, the tumor is going to feel a different environment that is in the form of also the dynamics or the movement of the vascular tissue or the matrix and many more. So that has to be created. So in the 4D cell culture, these aspects are going to be simulated or created, and in a very true sense, that will be more closer to the tumor microenvironment of a particular oral cancer patients. And also in the 4D cell culture, the options of mimicking or creating various forms of chemicals or peptides or carcinogens that are actually going to be present in real oral cancer patients, and that is their tumor microenvironment. Great. So that is up to the four dimensions. So what we are proposing that five dimension cell culture model in oral cancer where the tumor microenvironment has to be looked into with different perspective, different dimension, different attributes, so that the actual close resemblance to the oral cancer patients is going to be proposed. So, my dear friend, let us have a look. In the five dimension cell culture, if what I think and we think, that definitely the multiple layers of the cells will be there, growth planes of the cells will be there, no doubt. Extracellular matrix, as we have discussed in four dimension, their stiffness or their properties, vascular structure, their dynamics within the tumor microenvironment, that has to be there, no doubt. Beyond that, definitely the addition of chemicals, peptides, carcinogen, and most importantly, we can also include here in this dimension the salivary component. Those are going to be present in the oral cavities, and definitely the what I see, the oral cancer cells within the tumor, they are going to interact with the salivary components because that's the oral uh, cavity microenvironment. So what we are proposing in the fifth dimension, we can create and simulated avenues for these salivary component as well. And another very interesting point I would like to draw the attention here, that the in the five dimension cell culture, can we create a mechanically simulated environment where physical and mechanical forces, those are existing in our oral cavities, tumor microenvironment, can be created true to the sense for the five dimension cell culture. And we also propose that like circadian rhythms, gravitational forces, these type of the environment, however the human body or the oral cavity may witness these type of the forces, and that can also be considered as a part of five dimension cell culture. And the lastly what we propose also, that in oral cavities, the microenvironment, that are also going to have the presence of microbiotas or microbiotas derived chemicals. So can we create a five dimension cell culture where the cells, those are growing, oral cancer cells, those are growing in a multiple planes or the direction, with matrix, with vascular dynamics, with various tissue structure, they can also have the presence of these microbiotas mimicked environment, or their chemical can be present there, so that whole Tissue microenvironment, those are existing within the oral cavities in case of oral cancer, can be created, can be simulated, and that will open up the real sense testing, evaluation of either carcinogens, evaluation uh, for drugs, evaluation for many more compounds in near future. Not for testing of the compounds, the 5D cell culture may open up the avenues of how the tumor microenvironment in clinical patients, they are going to create pro-tumor microenvironment. What is the mechanism? In other words, what I see, the fundamental questions for the tumor microenvironment for oral cancer may also be revealed and studied by the help of these 5D cell culture of tumor microenvironment. Great. Definitely, it's great to acknowledge Professor Sachin Sarode because he Professor Sarode uh, suggested some of the inputs in terms of mechanical, physical environment. Those are existing in the oral cavity, and most importantly, he's a uh, clinical doctor. So he shares the actual the clinical settings of the patients and with certain beautiful images of the clinical patients, those with tumors or those with oral cancer. Great. Thank you very much for watching this particular video. I'm very, very thankful. Keep watching DYPBI DPU resources. Thank you very much.